Hello everyone, welcome to iLearning Digital Class. My name is Steven. I want to use this medium to appreciate those that already subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'm so grateful for the likes, for the comments, and for taking your time as well to share my videos on your social media to your loved ones to watch and learn. I'm so grateful for that, and I really want to appreciate everybody that have subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much. And please, if you are watching this tutorial and you've not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly hit the subscribe button so that you'll be able to enjoy this tutorial this tutorial, this video I'm uploading on my channel. And don't forget to hit on the notification button so that anytime I upload a new video, you'll be the first person to get the notification. So a few days ago we started a series on this channel, and what are we trying to do? We are trying to create a web application called computer-based text. So we are trying to build a computer-based text web application. So in my first video, I've tried to show us the project overview, that is what this project is all about and how it works, and different functionalities this project can do. So I've tried to show us, and if you've not yet seen the previous video, please, for you to be able to follow along, you must watch the previous video. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to drop the link to the previous video in the description below. So just click on it to watch the previous video. So in my last video, what we try to do is that we try to make a form validation. We try to create a functions from form validation for the username. That is, if the user don't input his or her username, they will not be able to proceed to start the exam. So now, what is the next thing we want to do now? Let's go into our text editor now. I'm using Sublime as my text editor. So what we want to do now is that we want to define a function for login. That is, anytime the user clicks start exam, we want to we want to define some functions. So what's the first thing we want to do is that now the first thing we want to do is we want anytime. Now let me go back here. Now let me reload. This is the quiz container now. So we want to let me close this console here. So we want to display this quiz container anytime the user log in. So for example, let me reload now. Let me reload this here. As you can see down here, if I input a username here, for example, if I input a username, for example, as you can see now, we want to display the quiz container and hide these contents that we are seeing here. So that's what we want to do. We want to hide this content once the user clicks start exam, and then display the quiz container. So okay, so now let's proceed now. And how we're going to do this? So what we are going to do now is that we're going to say quiz container now. Quiz container dot style, okay, dot style dot display. We need to display it now as block. So I think you know where this quiz container is coming from. Okay, in case if you don't know where this quiz container is coming from, this quiz container is coming from here. Let me show you. It's an ID. This is it. This quiz container is coming from here. It's an ID. We've already gotten this ID in our this ID. We've already gotten it in our HTML. It's an HTML ID. So we've gotten it and we saved it inside this quiz container. So we want to display the quiz container anytime the user click login. Now let me show you. Now let's see if this is working. Let me click on save and let's come back here. Let me clear this out. Okay, so let me input something here. So what is happening? I think I'm getting an error. Let me open the console. Open the console now and see where the error is coming from. Okay, unexpected token 116. Unexpected token 116. Okay, I think this is not a function. Anyway, so let me just save this now and go back and let's try again. Let me remove this and reload. So okay, let me input username here, then start exam. Okay, as you can see, let me close this. Don't worry about those errors. We'll rectify those errors very soon. So this is the quiz container now. As you can see, we are getting our quiz container now. So, but the question is not displayed because we've not written any function to display the question and the options. So forget about that. Just concentrate on that. We are able to get the quiz container once the user login. So, but we don't want to display this again. If the user clicks start exam, we want to hide this content here. We want to hide all this content here. So now, how we're going to do that? Just come down here. So we need just to say documents. We need to say documents. Okay, documents.query selector now. So we need to grab the IDs of those contents and hide them. So that is what we want to do. So dot query selector. So what is the ID for those content here? The number one ID we need to grab is the login. So we set the style. We say style dot display. Okay, dot display is equals to none. So we don't want to see it once we start our exam. Okay, the another one, let me just copy this to make it very fast. Copy this, paste. Okay, paste it 2 times. So here the ID we want to grab here is welcome ID. Okay, so another ID we need to grab here now is the warning ID. So in small, that's the ID for the warning. Now let me save. Let's go back here and let me reload now. So once I input the username, this content here should disappear. So Steven start exam, as you can see now. So the only thing we can now see here is our quiz container. So that is the only thing we can see here. Beautiful, and it's okay. So now having done that, so the next thing we have to do now is that we have to say player now. We want to say player is equals to player is equals to new player, is equals to new player. Then we pass username here. Okay, so then the next thing we want to do now is that I want to say local storage. That is what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to save the username inside our local storage, inside the browser local storage. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So we're going to say set item dot set item. Then we come here, we say player array. Then we say we want to save it, pass it to us. We want to save it in the JSON format now. Okay, we want to store it as a JSON format. Then we'll pass player array here. Player array, beautiful now. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do again is that we want to say variable here, variable player string. Okay, variable player string is equals to, we need to get those item back. Local storage dot get item, local storage dot get item. So what is the item we want to get? The item we need to get is the player array now. Okay, we need to get the player array back, player array. Okay, so now let me do something. Let me console the player array here now. Let's see, console.log okay, player, okay, player array. Okay, let me save and let's see if we are going to get any response in our console now. So let me open the console first. Okay, then let me reload this here. Anytime we make a changes, we have to reload our browser. So let's come down here and say Steven is my username and come down. So as you can see, we are getting a response here. So array 0. Okay, no problem. Good, we are getting a response there. So but we need to get some array of okay, I think what we are missing here is that, let's come here, we need to pass it as JSON now. We're gonna say player array. Okay, player array is equals to JSON, okay, dot pass, JSON dot pass. Okay, if my pass is correct, pass. Okay, dot pass. Then what do we want to pass now as JSON? We want to pass player string now. We want to pass player string. Okay, player string. Okay, so let's go back again and check if we are going to get a better response. Okay, let me come back here and let's reload this again. So let's input the username here and start exam. Okay, start exam. Okay, so let's see if we are getting a better response there. Not yes, we are not getting, because we need to get the username, we need to get the store score and the likes, but we are not getting them. So let me see what is the problem. So we have local equals to, oh okay, what we have to do now is that we have to push this player. Now what happened was that, let me show you something here. Yes, I remember now. Here we've already defined a player array here as an empty array. So we need to push that player inside this array. Don't forget that we've already set this player array inside our local storage. So the player, that is the username. So we need to push them. we need to push the username inside this particular place here. So since we've already stored this player array inside our local storage, so how are we going to push that there? So the way to do that is just that we have to come here and say that we're gonna say player array. We're gonna say player array is equals to player array is equals to, okay, play array dot push, sorry, play array dot push. So what do we want to push now? We want to push player now. So that's what we want to push now. So let's go back and see if this is working fine. Okay, let me input the username here and start exam. Okay, we should, yeah, we're getting a better response. As you can see now, we get the answer at, we get finished, we get store score. This is where we're going to store every of our scores. This is where we're going to store every of our answers, and this is where the total score is going to display. So here is where we'll get you know, the name of the username here. This is where we are going to get it. So the response here we are getting is okay and okay. So now let's proceed. So we are getting the number of responses. So let me clear this console .log out here. So let me clear it out. So what we do want to do now is that we want to use the for loop now to loop out every items we store inside our local storage. We're gonna say variable I, yeah, we say variable I, then variable I is equals to 0. Then we are setting this I is to 0. So that is index. We are setting the index to 0 now. Then we want to say if I now, for example, if I is less than player array dot length, okay, player array dot length, then we need to increase the I here. Let's say plus then we have this here. So we want to say that now we want to give a condition here now. Before we give that condition, let's say variable player here, variable player is equals to player array, then we have this I here. So then we need to give a condition that is if player dot username, if player dot username is equals to username, okay, is equals to username. That is if this player dot username is equals to this username here. You know, we've already saved this username inside our local storage. So we are now saying if the username, okay, let me reload this. I would love to explain this very well so that you'll be able to understand. What we are trying to say is that if the username here that we input here, are you getting it now? If the user input a username and click start exam, we want to display a message, a welcome message to that user. So that's what I'm trying to do now here. So we want to display a welcome message to that user. So now let's continue now. Then we'll come down here. Then we'll say that let's say actual player now. Actual player is equals to player. Okay, actual player is equals to player. Then we'll come down. We're gonna say message dot inner dot html. I think you know where this message is coming from. This message is an ID. We've already, okay, let me copy this message and search for it so that you'll be able to see it here. Okay, this is the message here. So it's an ID inside our HTML. So but we'll save it inside the message here. Are you getting it now? We'll save it inside this variable message here. So we want to pass a message, a welcome message inside this ID now. So that's what I'm trying to do now. So we want to pass a welcome message inside that ID. So and how we're going to do that, I'm just going to say it's equals to then we have this. We want to say welcome. Okay, welcome to this exam. Welcome to this exam. Okay, welcome to this exam. Then we'll pass the username now. I'm gonna say actual player dot username. Actual player dot username. Beautiful. So that's all what we need to do to send a message. Anytime the user input their username, so we want to send a welcome message to them. So it's going to say welcome to this exam. If it's Steven is your username, it's going to say welcome to this exam Steven. If it's John is your username, it's going to say welcome to this exam John. So that is what we are trying to do there now. So the next thing we want to do now is that we want to get the questions. Once the user start the exam, we want to display those questions to the user. So that's what we want to do next now. So and how are we going to achieve that? So we're just going to come down here. So we're going to come down. We're going to say variable string question. Okay, variable string question is equals to local storage now. Local storage. Okay, local storage dot get. We want to get the question. You know, if you remember, we've saved the question. Let me show you. We've saved the question. Okay, we've set the question inside our local storage. So we want to get the question that we saved inside our local storage back once the user click the start exam. So that's what I'm trying to do here now. So we're gonna say get item now. Get item. So what is the item we want to get? We want to get all question now. Okay, say all questions. Beautiful. So now the next thing we have to do now again is that we want to say all questions. Okay, all questions is equals to, we want to pass it as JSON now. Dot pass just pass, then string. We're gonna say string questions. Okay, string questions. Then we come here, we're gonna say quiz quiz length. Quiz length is equals to all questions dot length. Okay, so what am I trying to do here? So what I'm trying to do here is that now once we've been able to send a welcome message, so we want to get the question. So we want all those questions, we want to pass it as JSON now, because the question is in string. Are you getting it now? So we want to pass the question to JSON now. So then we want to say quiz.length. So we are saving this all questions.length. That is, if your questions are 20. Are you getting it now? So we want to get all the length of those questions and save them inside this quiz.length. So that's what I'm trying to do here now. So then we are going to come down here and say show question. This show question is a function that I'm still going to define now. So this show question is a function. I've not defined it, so it is the next thing we need to define. So now let's continue now. So what's the next thing we want to do now is that we want to anytime once the user click the start exam, so you know the first question shouldn't have the previous button, so we need to hide the previous button. So the first question shouldn't have a previous button, so we need to hide it. So and we need to display the calculator now. For example, let me come here, let me input something here, start exam. As you can see, the calculator button is not here. We need to display it. Once the user starts the exam, we need to display the calculator button. We need to display the quiz button. That is, the quiz buttons are the options, the choices. So we need to display that as well. So I will need to display the submit button too. Okay, now, so how are we going to do that? They are just very simple things to do. So we'll be doing this all this while. Just come here, say query selector. So just grab the ID. So the ID we need to grab here is the ID we need to grab here is the previous button. So the previous button. So we set it to display style display. We set it to none now. It goes to none. Okay. So I need to copy these for the sake of time and just paste. Let me copy and paste. Yeah. Okay. So now having done that, so we need to come here and the calculator button. Now what's the ID for the calculator button? We say calculator button. I think this should be the ID for it. So we need to set the display. We need to display the calculator button, because by default we set the display to none by default. So but once the user login, we need to display the calculator button. So and which other thing again, we need to display the quiz button now. The quiz button. Okay, so we need to the quiz button, we need to set the display here to block as well. Okay, so then which other one again? The last one again is the submit button. So we need to display the submit button too, because by default the submit button is the display is none. So let's come here and grab the ID for the submit button. Submit button. Okay, this is the ID. So we need to set it to block. Now let me save. Now we are going to get an error here saying show question is not defined. So let me just come here and define the function for that show question, so that we will not get any error saying it's not defined. Show question. Okay, show question. So let's define a function here for it, and let me save now. So let's see if we are going to get all these buttons here displayed. So that's the next thing I want to show us now. Let me reload this. Okay, so okay, show score is not defined, it's fine. Okay, Steven, let's start exam. Okay, now so none of those buttons are displayed yet. None of those buttons display yet. Okay, it's okay. So let's go and define the function for this show question now. So this is where we are going to write every functions that we need to display our question. So inside this function, this is where we need to every functions that we have inside our array here. So we need to display them. We will display these questions, we will display these choices here. So inside this show question, that is where we are going to write the function for it. So I'm going to stop here because I discovered this video is getting too long. So I don't like making too long videos. So in my next video, so we are going to write a function for this show question. So this is where we need to display the question inside this show question function here. This is where we need to display the question. This is where we need to display the choices. So we need to write some few lines of code here. So I believe you've done one or two things today. So even though we've nothing much has happened to our web application, but at least we've been able to, display, display the quiz container anytime the user login, and we've written some functions here that is, once the user login is going to get this response here. So the reason why we are not getting all this response is because we've not yet defined a function for our show question here. So once the question display, we'll be able to get all the responses, and every code that we write here, we are going to get them running. So I believe you've learned one or two things today, and please, as a payback, just kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to appreciate you, so that other people that really wants to learn from this channel, this video is going to reach them as well once you click the subscribe button. And if there's any question you need to ask me, kindly drop your question into the comment section. I'm going to answer them. So this one I'm going to stop today. So in my next video, we will write. We are going to continue. So thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. So I'm still your host. I'm still your friend Steven. See you in my next video. Thank you so much.